For years, Kiambu County was spending 700 million shillings a year on electricity, with streetlights alone costing 250 million. Tangi, the county is now Kenya's first to adopt solar as a primary energy source in line with recommendations speech during the Accelerated Partnership for Renewables in Africa 2023. Through the Angaza Kiambu program, over 12,000 solar costs while delivering clean, reliable lighting. Solar is now powering health facilities and water projects, a bold shift to sustainable energy for Kiambu's future.
Guys, this is South Sea, as you can see.
Kama maji iliingia with a lot of force.
Think about people affected. Respond to them instead of just looking for optics.
I think there's something here to be observed.
Wewe unakuja kuturingia hapa. Wewe ni nani? Hapana tumika vibaya.
What signal does that send?
The broad-based arrangement goes up to 2027.
Sisi tunatafuta power. Hatutafuti sasa vitu ndogo ndogo.
The problem comes in the implementation.
I am on both sides and I will make sure there is fairness.
Politics is a bone-breaking game.
We are not living with it. Was all gibberish.
Lately, that's what it sounds like.
If broad-based decides,
The ceasefire is over. The ceasefire is over.
News Gang, Thursday at 9 p.m. Miss it. From Citizen TV, this is JKL with Jeff Koinange.
and welcome to the second Wednesday in March, on the day that we are walking, like literally walking, with the governor from Tanzania, George Natembeya. We're going to ask him all sorts of questions. Linda Mwananchi is in
Not but
we're not sure.
He has coined relatively
Yes.
a movement that he calls Tawe movement.
Tawe, which means stop, right?
No, it means no.
Oh. Yeah. Tutaona. Natembeya is in the house. He's already arrived and was waiting for him. We've got a great show for you tonight. Start tweeting at Koinange Jeff.
At Ayub Abdikadir.
At Citizen TV. The hashtag is JK Live. JK Live begins right now. Tonight.
The other day, my colleague here is still bearing. The front wheels flew out. God forbid we could have had breaking news.
That's 800 million shillings. IBC needs funds for voter registration, pay severance, vehicles and by-elections.
In conclusion, we have given a score of 1 out of 10, which is a very generous score.
They are lying to you. Linda Mwananchi faction dismisses progress report on 10-point agenda between ODM and UDA parties. Demanding accountability. U.S. human rights group demands action against state officials in RSF Kenya passport scandal as government stays silent.
Fired in the had a lot of guests, and we do not know
these criminals.
Horrendous violent. A goon storm from a PL in Kisumu County. Our sign language interpreter. A leading American rights group has waded into the Kenya-Sudan passport scandal by calling out the authorities for issuing the identity and travel to individuals linked to human rights abuses in the war-torn Sudan. The New York-based Human Rights Foundation organization examined X account about the government's action to grant passports to sanctioned Sudanese war financier and individuals linked to Rapid Support Forces, the RSF of Sudan. The statement comes amidst continued deafening silence on the part of the Kenyan authorities on the unfolding saga. Here is Brenda Wanga with that report.
The human rights based in the United States of America is the latest to enter the fray as a scandal of Kenyan passports issued to Rapid Support Forces members in Sudan escalates. On the X account, Shariff indicates it allows Kenyan authorities' actions to issue passports to sanction Sudanese war financiers and other individuals linked to Sudan's genocidal Rapid Support Forces. The organization further links the passport issuance to what it says is President William Ruto's controversial alliance with RSF, saying this alliance also implicates Kenyan authorities in aiding the paramilitary group's sanctions evasion. Kenya is cited as having issued passports to over 25 Sudan nationals, among them USS-sanctioned Algoni Hamdan Daglo Musa, younger brother to RSF Commander Mohammed Hamdan Dagalo, also known as Hemedi. Both men are sanctioned for procuring weapons and financing the paramilitary group and for ethnically motivated killings and sexual violence in Sudan. Just a fortnight ago, a leaked list from the Immigration Department showed that Kenya had issued or was in the process of issuing passports to Sudan and Zimbabwe nationals whose credentials were suspect. The list included individuals linked to the Rapid Support Forces paramilitary group of Sudan and one Zimbabwean national accused of graft in his country.
Now, our government is selling our identity to foreigners for maybe the price of beans, or I don't know what's the reason why they're selling the passport to foreigners.
It also shows that the passports were processed between August 2024 and February this year. The saga drew wide condemnation not just from ordinary Kenyans who questioned the processes used to grant this important document, but also leaders who pointed out the impact of this on the erosion of the strength of the Kenyan document. Despite the outrage that followed the passport expose, the Kenyan Immigration Department under the Director General Evelyn Cheluget and the Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen have continued to bury their heads in the sand, perhaps hoping that this storm would blow over. It hasn't, and the entry into the saga by the International Human Rights on this issue. And Wanga, Citizen TV.
The independent electoral and Boundaries Commission, IEBC, is seeking an additional 888 million Kenya shillings to, among other things, buy new cars for commissioners, refurbish the IEBC offices, and conduct enhanced mass voter registration at the end of this month. As our political affairs reporter Emmanuel Tornau details, members of the Justice and Legal Affairs Committee of the National Assembly have raised a red flag over the Commission's priorities, which also includes the construction of a 3.5 billion Kenya shillings Uchaguzi Center.
They appeared before the National Assembly Justice and Legal Affairs Committee to seek parliamentary approval for an additional 887.95 million shillings as part of the first supplementary budget to finance its activities. In its request, IBC wants the money to cater for the former IBC CEO Marjan Hussein Marjan's exit package, which includes his salary and gratuity 1 month after his exit from the commission. The electoral body also wants money to purchase motor vehicles for the commissioners at a cost of 168 million shillings, purchase of furniture for the commissioners at a cost of 10 million shillings, and renovation of commission offices at a whopping 120 million shillings.
All of us as commissioners, we are using very old vehicles. The other day, my colleague here, is it called bearings? The front wheels flew out. God forbid we could have had breaking news. I don't know why, but we found a commission that they're using very old vehicles. I don't know if the previous ones were using these current ones or they left the vehicles. I don't know.
So the situation room will be there to do a number of things. Number one, real-time updates from the field to know ni nani anasema uongo, nani anasema ukweli.
Members of the committee questioning the need for the colossal amounts, which some cited as non-essential.
Have the offices of the former commissioners gone with the furniture also of the officers?
I just want the commissioner to confirm that the situation room is actually not a war station.
We need laptops, we need a computer to be there, we will need officers. So hiyo kizungu mingi is what it's going to do.
The commission, which is also preparing to ramp up its voter registration exercise from March 30th this month, also requested for 50 million shillings for stakeholder engagement for the upcoming exercise. 40 million shillings for the commission situation room, 100 million shillings for the media campaign for enhanced continuous voter registration, and 392 million shillings for the by-elections.
On the issue of voter registration, Chair, is the commission sufficiently funded to conduct this exercise?
We did have allegations of rigging, but there may have been allegations of other malpractices. So how did you rate yourself?
I would mark ourselves at 90%. We didn't expect that Kenyans would be so violent towards a by-election.
Emmanuel Tomo, Citizen TV, Nairobi. The Linda Mwananchi opposition faction has rejected the 10-point agenda report presented by the Dr. Agnes-Zani-led team, led by Siaya County Governor James Orengo and Nairobi County Senator Edwin Sifuna. The leaders announced that the working agreement between the ODM and UDA parties under the broad-based arrangement came to an end on Saturday, the 7th of March, and opposed any further extension of the mandate of the implementation team. Stephen Leto, that report.
Few hours after the unveiling of the 10-point agenda report at the KICC, the Linda Mwananchi team have come out to dismiss the report, terming it an embarrassment and a letdown to the spirit of the broad-based government arrangement and visage signing of the memorandum.
In conclusion, we have given a score of 1 out of 10.
On a scale of 0 to 10, I want to say that the government has scored -1.
The Linda Mwananchi leaders rejected the Agdani report, saying it did not address all issues raised, including the compensation of youth killed during the anti-government protest dating back to 2017.
50 youth were killed. How did they arrive at 2 billion? How did they do the assessment?
We also have so many of our youth who are languishing in prison.
If you count the number of political rallies and gatherings that have been attacked and broken up violently since the signing of the MOU, they are actually, it's embarrassing.
Everything that was released yesterday was all gibberish. It was all baldash. It was neither important nor detailed. The detailed parts were not important, and the important parts were not detailed.
Leaders accused the President Ruto Oburu Oginga-led parliamentary group meeting of turning into a manifesto speech of what the Kenya Kwanza administration has achieved.
The Kenyan government can still not tell us as of today how much money we owe, who we owe that money to, and what that money went for.
Right now, we have a debt of 12.3 trillion Kenya shillings. Out of that, 6.8 trillion is the domestic debt. Then 5.5 trillion is the foreign debt.
They now say that the marriage between ODM and UDA has hit rock bottom.
The 10-point agenda, in my view, was a ceasefire document. Ceasefire is over. The ceasefire is over.
There is no longer any document binding us with UDA.
We will pursue the dream of Raila Amolo Odinga, which is envisaged in the 10 points agenda to the end.
The ODM leadership speaking in Homa Bay, however, defended the report released yesterday, saying it is work in progress, affirming that the 2 billion shillings set aside for compensation of victims of protest has been delayed by the ongoing court cases.
And with money that we now already are going to have in the supplementary budget, we're going to be one of the few countries in the region that will actually implement a compensation program for victims of post-election violence or other forms of police brutality.
Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
Yes, Jeff. All the way. From there we go straight. We're tembeaing. Okay. Yes. With Trans Nzoia County Governor 2026 George Natembeya. Good to see you. Thanks so much for coming on.
Pleasure.
You saw the story there about Linda Mwananchi. You have been in several of their events. Where do you stand? Are you part of Linda Mwananchi?
No, I've never been in any of the events, and this is basically an internal ODM issue, and now they're relating with the government of Kenya. So for us who remain in Azimio, we are basically innocent bystanders, viewing how events are unfolding. We hope it ends well.
Do you support what they're doing? Sifuna group as opposed to the Oburu group?
Looks like there are two sides to them. One is supporting the broad-based government, that's led by the interim party leader, Oburu Odinga, and this other faction led by Sifuna and Orengo, who are not for the broad-based arrangement.
Yeah.
We are watching. Basically, if it worked very well, would have wished that ODM gets out of the broad-based government and comes back to Azimio, because we are together when we are looking for votes. That arrangement where the led Raila Odinga went into the government, some would not support it, and the people who are opposing it even from within are basically echoing the view that we had when the Honorable Odinga joined the President William.
By the way, Gov, this Linda Mwananchi has all the horror of a political party. It is saying everything about a hallmark of a political party.
Position. They're going to reduce our volume.
Governor, we're going to continue supporting the United Opposition position on that.
Yes.
We're going to talk about that, about other things. Politics, about Trans Nzoia, so many things. And your tenure, because you were in national government before, now running a county government. What's that like? You get back to your little short, and now you.
Thanks, Jeff. Valued at 204 billion Kenya shillings has been approved. A report
After the report was tabled by the joint committees on finance and national planning and updates and
is 40 in 2022. Currently, negative because of they make losses. The P ratio of Etisalat is over that, Honorable Speaker. P ratio. Talking about to propose the price that you're calling us incompetent, and until
the prize that you're calling us incompetent, and until Mr. Speaker, he should withdraw his term. Of the word incompetence and all those other aspersions is casting on the National Treasury and on this. Honorable Speaker, it would be wrong for Kenya to sell Safaricom shares at 34 shillings. A share that was selling at 45 shillings in the year 2021, Honorable Speaker, and especially at a time when the company has already invested in Ethiopia, has been bleeding cash for the last 2 years, but is now breaking even operationally. The thing you can do here is to come and say, oh, this thing is incompetent, this share is undervalued. You must give us a substantiation of the alternative. And that is what I had Honorable Kimani Kuria ask. What is that other valuation model that you can give us or give the country so that we may benefit from intellect? You are probably more intelligent than all the other people you consider to be incompetent. In your competence,
in approving government's proposal to sell 15% of its shares in Safaricom PLC to Vodacom worth 204 billion shillings, the Joint Committees on Finance and National Planning and Public Debt and Privatization observed that the valuation exercise applied safeguarded public interest. They negotiated that 4 shillings per share aligns with market movements. Negotiating with Vodacom minimizes execution risks and preserves market confidence. Personal data will be protected under the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act. Safaricom's 855,000 direct employees jobs to be safeguarded. 40.2 billion shillings dividend upfront payment by Vodacom to Government of Kenya. Proceeds from the transaction to be ring-fenced under the National Infrastructure Fund. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Police in Kisumu County have launched investigations into the circumstances under which a gang of about 100 people vandalized a hotel, cutting away with valuable items from the establishment. During the Wednesday morning fiasco, former Principal Secretary Irungu Nyakera fired in the air in an attempt to disperse the gang, which was armed with crude weapons. As Laura Otieno now tells us, reports have emerged of a rent dispute touching on the establishment, with the owner citing abuse of power by police in attempts to kick him off the property.
The full extent of damage at the Fairways Hotel in Kisumu was illuminated by the morning light as investigators brushed the scene to gather evidence on the vandalism and theft perpetrated on Wednesday morning. This CCTV footage shows how at 5 a.m., one person posing as a client led a group of armed people through the main entrance of the Fairways Hotel, tying up the security guard before making their way into the reception and bar section, cutting away items while breaking the shelves and utensils in the storage area.
I fired in the air. The hotel had a lot of guests, and we did not know what these criminals were. They were carrying all manner of crude weapons. At that point, it's past.
Nyakera now claims that the attack was perpetrated by the Lake Basin Development Authority due to his political leaning. In a statement, LBDA has denied any involvement in the hotel of unlawful occupancy and trespass. In a tenancy termination notice dated February 12th, LBDA directed Fairways to vacate the premises over an alleged 25 million shillings debt. Fairways, however, obtained an injunction on 25th of February, which was again overturned by a tribunal on 9th March 2026. Nyakera, however, claims he has been servicing the debt and is being out in favor of a senior government official eyeing the property.
There's absolutely nothing that anybody can use outside the law to access the property. If the law comes in and says, Kera, you can leave the property, I will leave it because I'm a law-abiding citizen. If somebody else wants the property outside the court, let them come and see me. Let them bring me an offer. Tell me you have invested 235 million shillings. We want to pay you 235 plus Y.
Police are now seeking the people seen vandalizing the hotel. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
And a family in Nairobi's Eastleigh Estate is worried about their missing father and businessman Abdi Aidid Ali, who was abducted 5 days ago by armed men within Shariff Estate of the county. Here's Franklin Wala with the details of that report.
This renowned businessman Abdi Aidid Ali was allegedly abducted by armed gunmen on the night of 7th March while within Shauri in Nairobi's Eastlands. His distraught son Jamal Abdi says the family has known no peace since the abduction of their father happened.
At the junction of Shauri and Yusuf Haji Avenue, he was ambushed by two cars, two SUV Prados, one white, one black, as the witnesses who were there. One lady who was there at that time told us they around 8 men with jungle green uniform and rifle came out with masks. They took my dad.
At the time of his abduction, Abdi Aidid was driving the mosque before he was intercepted by 2 vehicles whose occupants were armed men. The men bundled him into one of the motor vehicles and disappeared with him, leaving his car on the road. Moments later, his mobile phone was switched off, leaving the family in agony, unaware of what could have happened to their father.
And until now, we've been going from one office to another in terms of security agencies, and we're not getting any response from the security. So what we are appealing for is for the governments and the security agencies that deal with these issues to please tell us what is going on. We are not expecting anybody. All we want to know is, there's a government, there is security agencies, there is police. We want them to tell us where Mzee is.
Abdi Aidid is the owner of 2 local hotels in Eastleigh and Parklands. The family says he is a well-known philanthropist who has helped the local community in Eastleigh steer development projects, among them the construction of California Police Station. His son says if the government wanted his father, they could have summoned him. They are not sure about whether the 52-year-old is in the hands of the government or criminals.
He's a developer. He's a businessman. He's a business who employs a lot of clients. And it is somebody who's very known in the community. So he was not someone who should have been taken like that. If he could have been someone at any police station, he's somebody who would have gone there at his own willing.
In just 1 week, 2 renowned businessmen in Eastleigh have allegedly been abducted by armed men. The Abdi Aidid alleged abduction case was reported at Shauri Police Station, and the police say investigations are still ongoing. Franklin Wala, Citizen TV.
And 9 people killed in Monday's tragic accident along the Kitai-Webuye Road will soon be laid to rest. But for 2 grieving families, the pain is compounded by the burden of funeral expenses. One of the families lost 6 members in the unfortunate crash, while several survivors remain hospitalized at Webuye County Hospital nursing serious injuries. Laura Otieno tells us of a village struggling to come to terms with the devastating loss of 9 lives in a single day.
A blanket of grief hangs over Sipala village in Bungoma County. Across homesteads, wails rise into the high heavens as families grapple with the reality of the phantom of death sweeping across the village. It all began when 23-year-old Gravin Fundia left home on Monday evening to pay a debt to one of the neighbors.
Alipofika huko kulipia hoteli, alikuwa anarudi nyumbani na mapikipiki nayo kutoka kule tu Kitale ikapita na yeye. Mama alipotoka huko, hata mwenye anaenda kulipia teni pia kuja kuangalia kushuhudia nini inaendelea, pia naye hiyo gari ikapita nayo. Fika pale
hiyo transist iliweza kutokezea. Wale waliokimbilia kwa mkono wa kulia waliweza kufariki, na wale wenye tuliingilia kwa mkono wa kushoto ambao ni kwa barabara kwenyewe katikati tuliweza kupona.
3 other relatives also died. The clan is now grappling with the burial plans for 9 people as well as piling hospital bills.
Ndugu yangu mdogo ameumia, yuko hospitali. Msichana yangu ako na spinal injury, inafaa tena ashughulikiwe. Bibi ya ndugu yangu ako na kichwa, alipasuliwa kichwa, inafaa tumfanyie scan na afanyiwe further medication. Kwa hivyo yani tunahitaji hela
ndani yetu katika kijiji hiki. Sijui tufanye nini. Hata tukisimama kwa ajili ya kupanga mpanga tutuchange tusika watu wetu hatuwezi.
Even with the grief, these families are seeking assistance to accord their kin a decent send-off. The Monday night accident killed 15 people while leaving 16 others with injuries. Laura Otieno, Citizen TV.
Break here on the broadcast. And here is Jeff.
You're laughing. Why are you laughing, man? I'm here, man. I'm here. And guess who else is here?
Yeah.
He's Tembeya all the way from Trans Nzoia County.
The journeyman.
George Natembeya, governor of county number 026, Trans Nzoia County, is in the house answering all kinds of questions. Is he part of Linda Mwananchi? Is he part of the United Opposition? What are his goals? What are his thoughts after coming from national government to county government? Yeah. A lot of questions. I know you have a lot of questions for him too. Keep tweeting at Koinanga Jeff.
At Ayub Abdikadir. At
Citizen Tukane. The hashtag is JK Live. JK Live takes a break. We'll be back in a moment. In the meantime,
coming up, Chinese national arrested at the Jomo Kenyatta International Airport with over 2,000 ants destined for China.